The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
I'm a big fish in a small pond. Got my days free and my nights long. I create my own reality. Who I am is fine with me. As famous as I wanna be. Who I am is fine with me. It's who I am. It's who I am. Who I am is fine with me.
This is What's the Story with Maria, which is Tuesdays 9 p.m. And you can listen to us on the TuneIn app. And once you get that, you go to Armed Radio, ARMED Radio, and type in What's the Story with Maria. You will find our show. So that's that. In podcast, it goes to Spreaker, Spreaker, Spreaker. That's about 12 hours, 24 hours later. You'll be able to hear us. So we're going to be doing all that. Now, Sean Ryan has joined us. Justine Mary has joined us. Chris DePiero has joined us. He was on our first show. Etzel Romero.
Yeah.
Joe Savino he's really handsome. Joe Savino's really handsome. Chris DePiero is sharing our video as we go. John Pandish is sharing our video. And we're just waiting to hook in to the station, but we want to welcome you. This is episode 8, and my guests are Billy Hipkins and Gabrielle Cardenas, and they are in the entertainment business in kind of different ways, but some of the places will be bridged. Like I think you're both dancers, right?
Not anymore.
All right, but we know that. Okay, so you know what? I think who says I'm not handsome? Chris, yes, you are handsome. Not as handsome as Joe Savino, but yes, you are handsome.
Oh, Chris.
Okay. Now, Arms Radio is sharing our podcast. So you know what? Why don't we just go ahead and kind of start? We'll start the show a little bit, and then we can always backtrack. So my name is Maria Gentili, and this is What's the Story with Maria. So welcome. And as I was saying, this is Billy Hipkins,
Hello.
Gabrielle Cardenas. They both live in New York. You both still live in New York. Right?
Oh yeah. Midtown.
I think you guys, live in the
kitchen. Yep, in the H.
Hell's Kitchen.
Oh yeah.
So, Billy, why don't we start? We'll start talking about you a little bit.
Sure.
Before we talk about your shows.
Yeah.
How long have you been in the city?
God, I've been a full-time New Yorker. I left New Jersey. I grew up 20 miles outside of here. So
Okay.
I went to acting school here.
Where did you go to acting school?
The American Academy of Dramatic Arts.
I love it.
For 1 year until they kicked me out. They did not ask me back. They didn't ask me back.
Is that true?
I was too busy learning how to smoke marijuana.
I know. Well, sometimes you have to learn that stuff.
You gotta do
busy stuff.
right?
Anyway, it ended up back in the city. By the mid-'80s, I've been a full-time New Yorker since the mid-'80s. Yeah, I've been here.
That's a long time. I've been here since 90.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and how about you, Gab?
2000.
2000. Okay, so you're like kind of a newbie in a way.
Yeah, 17.
Yeah. So we want to also continue to say hi to Robert Baldwin. Hello, Robert Baldwin.
Hi, Robert Baldwin.
You know Robert
I do
Baldwin.
know
He's
him.
adorable.
Yes, he's a sweetheart.
He's a real sweetheart. So,
we trade quotes on Hairspray, the movie, back and forth.
oh, you do?
That girl has roaches in her hair.
Oh.
That's
All right, so speaking of, so we're getting all these great likes. One thing I want to do right off the bat is I want to give a shout out to my cousin Nicole, because every week Nicole comes on and I don't get to talk about, Nicole has a wonderful hair salon and day spa in Stoneham, Massachusetts. It's called Nicole's Salon and Day Spa. So please check her out on Main Street in Stoneham. I really wanted to give you a shout out last week and I couldn't remember the name of your shop, but it was so much. Melba LaRose has just joined. Do you know who was joined us last week? Melissa Manchester. Melissa Manchester. Michael Dion. Hi, Michael. Leo Rodriguez has joined us.
Oh.
So all these great. Jeffrey Coldren has joined us. Okay, so let's just get going. All right. So I want to talk to Billy for a little while, and then we'll shift over to Gabby. It's really warm in here, so thank you ahead of time. We're all.
Sure.
And if we have to turn on that fan, Gab, go and turn it on.
Sure.
Okay, so Billy,
Yeah.
you started off as an actor.
Yes, I
Okay.
did. My intention was to be a big fat Broadway star with lots of Tony Awards, and that has not happened, but the day's not over yet.
No, it's not.
Yeah, no, but so yeah, I pursued an acting career through into the 90s. Through the 90s. Biggest credits, I was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. on
What?
National Yeah,
Get
dude.
out.
Donatello.
No.
Dude, there was a show called the Coming Out of Their Shells Tour, and it was like a hip-hop concert show.
Did
You're
you
the
do
Don.
You did the malls and stuff? Did
Well,
you
no,
do
we
the-
did all the Six Flags parks. I did a whole
wow.
summer tour with all the Six Flags parks. 30-pound costume, hip-hop dancing.
Really?
I love it in a different way.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah.
see- you see
Dude,
what
I was
happens?
keyboards with my 3 fingers, Donatello, three fingers like this. Keyboards. It was crazy town.
So you did that in the 90s?
I did that in the 90s. I also...
but you would have to be in good shape to do something like that, because that is
I
very
was
physically
never more
challenging.
fit when we got done with that, because you're inside of a big, huge workout machine. Because
And
any move,
moving.
if the move has to look like that, you're like, okay, let me see if I can get my arm in the
Oh, so
lift
you're
shot.
in a machine.
Like, well, no, you're the costume. It's like,
Right.
the arms gotta look like that. In the costume, it looks like this, so everything's gotta be like that.
Really
so
big,
every
yeah.
single move had to be ginormous.
I did
was-
costume character work for
Yes.
FAO Schwartz. It wasn't as...
That's-
I did that too.
Did you?
Yeah.
I was Art to the Aardvark.
I worked there for 4 years as Billy. What are you looking at? The clown. I was the most
Really?
unpleasant juggler you ever wanted to meet at Beverly Hills.
Oh my God.
I was Billy
and
the
I was
Clown.
Clifford the dog at Christmas.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's
No,
tough stuff.
Oh, I got to meet Babar once.
We'll
I kept
talk about-
boosting people with my trunk. It was fun.
Oh yeah, you know what? You can do a lot of stuff when you're behind that
Yes.
costume. Okay, so you
Okay.
started off.
Turtle. My
Turtle.
other big credit, I was on I had lines on all 4 soap operas that began with a vowel. Can you guess what they were? 4 soap operas that began with a vowel, all here in New York City, and through the 80s and 90s. I had
Bill,
like
you got to tell us. I
ridiculous
can't.
lines. All
I
my,
was-
all my children,
Children.
As the World Turns, Another World, One Life to Live.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I did a lot of background stuff, and then on each of them, I ended up in a situation where I got to have like stupid line. Excuse me, Mary Buchanan, but there's a phone call for you. I mean, I had
Really?
great-
I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, but those are good. That's an under 5.
Yeah, under 5.
I
did
love
under 5s
that.
on all of those. Yeah.
Soap operas. I was never on a soap opera.
Yeah.
That is really
no,
cool.
I
You see
think
what
that's
I learn about when I interview my friends? These are my friends, by the way. We've been friends for what, 20 years?
Since you got to the city. Because
Yeah.
it was like 1990. We started
Yeah.
working Tony and Tina's wedding.
That's
in the
right.
West Village.
Billy,
I did wardrobe on that.
well, let me tell you about Billy. So I got there, and everybody was always talking about this Billy. You're gonna love Billy. You're gonna love Billy.
Really?
But you were doing some other show or something, and then you returned, and I understood what everybody was talking about. Paul Lucas, hey everybody, he was on our show. He's your neighbor, right? Billy is my
Yes,
neighbor.
of course he is. Oh, hi, Paul.
Billy's my neighbor. I love it. He's
Yes.
name dropping you. I love that.
I like it.
So that's how we met. Billy
Yeah,
was
yeah,
the
yeah.
dresser. You did hair. You still
Uh-huh.
do that stuff, right?
Not the hair stuff. I was always bad at. Oh, I was
Was
terrible.
that true? Rose
But I still
Keogh,
done
our
wardrobe.
friend.
Yeah, and Rose just got me work. We were working on Groundhog Day.
I love
She's
Rose.
up there. Yeah. So no, after I got done with the acting thing, I was in one Broadway musical. I was
Tell me.
on a Karenina the musical.
What year was
Heard
that?
of it? No one did. It was 1992. We were the first show of the 1992 season.
School.
Stop that.
You know what, Gabby?
Stop
That's
that.
not allowed.
That's
None of that is
fair.
allowed.
No, it was. It had some really good stuff in it. I was
And you
not-
were a dancer?
No, I was
An actor?
actually, and I was in it. I was an extra. It was at Circle in the Square, that big basketball court space.
Yeah, of
They were
course.
supposed to have a turntable, but the budget fell apart, so they had to dump the turntable. So the choreographer, Patricia Birch, God bless her, said, I need 2 other guys to be servants and shove samovars and scenery and furniture around the stage.
And that's what you did?
I wore a lifting belt under my costume.
And you're not...
Circle in the Square, they're a Lort Theater, League of Regional Theaters,
Right.
on Broadway.
Right.
So the contract is not a Broadway contract, it's
I
less
know.
money.
That's the same
As
thing
an
with so many
extra
things.
on a Broadway stage, I was making less money than I was on unemployment. I got
Ugh.
off of unemployment to
I
go
know,
on
isn't
to be
that
on a Broadway
awful?
stage.
That's what happens.
Wow.
The difference between
yeah.
off-Broadway contracts,
Oof.
those Lord contracts,
Yeah.
and Broadway is literally, it can be hundreds,
It's crazy.
even 1,000, the
Yeah.
difference. And
It really.
when I
It
was doing the
uh,
off-Broadway show, I was teaching 20 hours a week, plus doing 7 shows a week,
Mhm.
and I could barely pay my bills. Barely.
Oh,
I was like, my credit cards were through the roof.
Yeah, no.
But
yeah.
what you
Broadway.
get in exchange is this amazing experience that, I mean, the experience is great.
Well, it
and
was
then
an
you
ex-
have to
it was
start
an
to make your money.
experience. Anna Karenina was an experience.
Yeah. So
10 whole weeks.
now, Gabby, when did you come to the city in 2000? You said.
Yeah, I
As a dancer or as an actor?
No acting for me.
No acting.
Dance, and I actually I I was also getting certified in Pilates, so I came here and I jumped right in. I came in June, and the next day I was in the studio. So I did that and danced.
And you still do the Pilates. We were talking about
Yeah, I
that
do
earlier,
Pilates.
right?
Yeah, I love it.
And you
It's
teach
great.
it?
I'm teaching it a little bit because I also teach at a school.
Right.
So, but I'm, still,
Have you started yet? Has your school year started yet?
We get kids tomorrow.
Oh.
So,
Oh
yeah,
my
I'm
God.
at a private school, so I think the DOE maybe started today. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I start my teaching, because I teach after school performing arts at the Mayo in Morristown, and I start in October.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. And so Scott Ryan says, hi, Billy. There's Scott Ryan.
Yeah.
Oh, Billy is, let me
Wow.
tell you something.
Tell you
Billy
what.
is so popular.
You
Um,
are popular.
I know people. People know me.
Oh, girl.
Yeah.
All right,
Wow.
so Gabby, you came and you still are a dancer, right? Like I've always known you as a dancer.
Yeah, I still dance. I take class. The
Oh, you
last
do?
show I did was I went to NYU, so there was a
love
professor there that took us to Uganda. There was an exchange
Ooh.
program, kind of.
Wow.
So we got to perform for graduation, the Steinhardt graduation. So it was really cool
Wow.
to go back to Radio City, and it was in May 16th.
Wow.
I know it was
Amazing.
that stage was so
Oh my God, I can't
energy
imagine.
was just amazing.
But it's
You've
also
worked in-
concrete and steel. That's
You've
an
worked
unforgiving
at the
stage.
Radio City
Yeah, I
Music
dressed
Hall.
the Christmas show one year, and I dressed the very last Easter show they did. So yeah,
Wow.
I know that venue.
You
as
know
well.
that
Yeah,
stage, right?
That's,
That's
unforgiving.
enormous.
It's an amazing
That's an
stage,
unforgiving
yeah.
stage, though. But it's
Yeah.
a marvel.
I can
Those
imagine.
elevators, like the stage is like it's like 3 or 4 side by side, downstage to upstage elevators.
And then when
Oh,
they keep the
wow.
animals,
Yeah.
like for those shows, they keep the
Uh-huh.
animals downstairs, right?
Offstage right is where the camel room is. When I went and saw the Christmas show a few years back,
Wow.
the
I
camels in
love
the
the
Christmas
Christmas show.
I had done it
livestock.
back in the 90s, and I went to see a friend, and I was sitting down audience left, and I knew from where I was sitting, I was like, the camels are right over there. I can smell them.
Oh,
because I
yeah,
know
they're-
that-
it's not a good
that
smell.
hay kind of
Well, when you
smell.
watch circuses, you know,
No,
you
I
smell all
dressed
that.
it. I dressed Christmas
Oh, you're
one year.
dressed-
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the Rockettes. I
Yeah,
love
they're
them.
amazing.
Yeah.
They're-
I have friends that are Rockettes, and I love them. I
You
mean,
should-
I don't know
yeah.
if they're all Rockettes anymore because you can only do that so long. That's a tough gig.
I've known Rockettes. My
Yeah,
friend
they-
Ginny Hansel, 28 years.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
they
yeah.
really work. I mean,
They work.
you have to be able to do everything.
Yeah,
Sure.
and they have cots, right?
Really-
That they sleep. They take little naps in sometimes.
Well, yeah, but I
Between
mean,
shows?
used to be back in the day when it was the music hall did films. They would do like 15 shows a week or something between the movies,
Oh, my
and there was a
God.
dormitory. Because I know Ginny had these stories about staying there on the weekends. You stayed in the dorm, in the building, and a
Yeah, you don't really
cafeteria,
have a
and
life for
it
about
was
2 months,
just. But now even Christmas show now there's the gold cast and the blue cast, and
Okay.
you split up the week. But even at that, it's a hefty
I mean,
week.
and how long is that show?
Like 90 minutes.
But
Yeah,
it's nonstop.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
it's
they're nonstop.
there's no
you know,
intermission.
so-
You just go, and your cast one day a week. Your cast will do the 5-show day. So once a week, you're doing 5.
That's a lot.
crazy.
I mean,
Ooh, it's a lot.
That's
It's
the
a lot
reality of it.
Christmas.
But and
it's a lot of
yeah,
Christmas.
and that's a union gig though. That's
Oh,
a
yeah,
union
the
gig,
money's
so
great.
the money's great.
Yeah.
You can-
All right,
yeah.
Billy, let's launch right into what you're doing. Billy is so I
Okay,
met
okay.
Billy as a dresser.
Yes.
Billy was a dresser and,
Yes.
and did hair for the show that I was in.
Mhm,
That's
mhm.
how I met Billy.
Right.
And then years later, I heard that. Well, I also knew that Billy was a great dancer, so that I knew.
Oh, well,
I knew.
that-
Hi to my cousin Rena. She
that was
just
never
joined.
true.
She texted me earlier to tell me
Rena.
she was en route and she might miss some of the show.
Aw.
How cute is that? Yay, Rena, you
Nice.
made it.
Nice.
Ovi Vargas, I went to high school with him. Stephen Jacob, Isaacson. I'll have to look at that again. Okay, all these people come out.
Wow.
It's great. All right, so I met you doing that, Billy, and then years
Yeah.
later,
Yeah.
I hear that you had written a show,
Uh-huh.
which I went to see,
Uh-huh.
and I still, when you mention the show, my hair on my
Aw.
arm stands up.
So sweet.
It's such, well, you know someone in one capacity, and you know them as a funny person,
Mhm.
and then this show it's kind of got elements of comedy, but it's really a serious show, and it's a beautiful show.
Thank you.
And I would like you to tell us about the
Okay.
show, please.
Yeah, okay, so I did segue into a wardrobe career. I've now worked on 18 Broadway shows as a dresser. I love it.
What was
I
your
love
favorite?
it. My favorite was my first one, Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, I
did
remember that.
one.
I came to see
yeah,
that.
I did that
while
one
you
for
were doing it.
7 years. I don't know that I could ever do a 7-year run again, but that one was a
Wow.
very special family with people that still mean so much to me, and it was just a very special time. A lot happened in my life during that run, and it was special.
Yeah.
And it was during that time I went to Ford's Theater in D.C., and in the basement of Ford's, and I don't love history. I never did. My family was very into American history. I I could care. In the basement, I found a handbill, though, from the night of Lincoln's assassination. Tonight, Miss Laura Keene starring in Our American Cousin. And at the bottom of this handbill, I see that tomorrow night, for the benefit of Miss Jenny Gourlay, we're going to be doing the Octoroon. And I saw it and went, wait. Ooh, who's she? What happened to her? Because I know that gun went off and that got canceled.
Wow.
And it caught me
This is why I
immediately.
loved
Like,
your show.
wait a minute. And I had to find Jenny Gourlay. Who was she? And the more I'm trying to find her through internet searches and all, and I'm finding so little except she was there when the gun went off. I'm getting madder and madder that something got taken from her. I really, truly believe had she done her benefit performance the following night, she would have gone on to be a star in her own right and
Wow.
remembered for her work, not for being one of the people standing there when the gun went off. So I didn't know what I was doing with the information. I just needed to find her.
That
And it got more and more personal.
That's really like spooky
Right.
and powerful. And you know what? I when you were telling that story, and you were in that theater, I mean, did you ever feel that she was there, that she may have been there and said, "Find that somebody needs to tell my story"?
Well, you know what? Okay, what got weirder is the more it felt personal, and as time went on, I got more and more emotionally attached. Like if I now talk about the moments leading up to the gunshot and what's going on and where everyone's standing, I will usually get choked up to the point of tears, and I can't explain that to you. It's
Right.
like that loose tooth you can't stop wiggling.
Yeah,
even though it hurts.
yeah.
I will touch that nerve of like, yeah, that still hurts, to the point where I have actually wondered whether I was there in the past life.
No, I'm
Was I
telling
there?
you, when I saw your
because,
show,
I
I
don't
think I
know.
saw it twice, but
Mm.
the first time I saw it, the second time I heard different things. The reason I wanted to see it twice, again, which I would see it again anyway, was because you miss things sometimes. It's very historical, and it's also very powerful on a spiritual level, and I believe in that stuff. So I truly, when I was watching your show, I thought, she was there. She wanted you to find that. And I also felt, when you're on stage, that she's there. There are times when you talk about her, and I feel that literally she's finally gotten her moment, and you were the vessel for that. It's a very powerful show.
Well, thank
Please
you.
show us.
Yeah. Well, what came out is a show called The Also Ran, subtitled For the Benefit of Miss Jenny Gourlay.
For the, okay.
That's her. Wait a minute. Let me see if I can get this right. There's her. That's her. I can show you a better picture of her.
Yeah, now let's spell that, though. Let's spell that for our
Jenny.
radio listeners.
That was her.
So,
during the Lincoln assassination, that she was 18 years old.
18.
19 at the time.
Spell the show.
All right. The Also Ran, TheAlso-RAN. My website for the show is also thealsoran.com. And it was written and performed by me. It's 70 minutes long. And my director, Perry Delaquila.
Wonderful.
Oh, an amazing
Wonderful.
director.
Yeah, he
Just,
really is.
He
And a
has
nice
helped
guy,
shape,
I might
and a
add.
great guy.
Very nice
has helped
guy.
me really shape the show into something watchable instead of 90 minutes of melodrama, because I can be dramatic.
Well, we all
As a matter of fact, I got to show you this too. This is a note he gave me.
Please.
I put this up in every dressing
Put it
room we
close.
ever worked on.
Okay.
Nobody wants to see a man cry.
Who said that?
I will get Perry.
And that is a quote
I'll
from
get like
Perry.
worked up in rehearsals, and I'll get very. He's like, you can't stand there and cry the whole show. And
Okay, so Joe Rocks, are you listening?
don't cry. The whole
Don't
show.
cry the whole show. We're
Now,
sick of it.
That said, y'all, there's a lot of comedy in the show because what it also involves. How did I get here? My family was so into history. We were a camping family that went to, if it had the word Berg in it, that's where we spent our summer vacation.
Okay.
Gettysburg, Williamsburg, Vicksburg, Bergburg. If they fired guns there, that's where we were in
Where
August.
the guns were fired,
Walking
your family
across
was.
battlefields in August. I couldn't care.
So you must have gone to Concord and Lexington.
Yeah.
Because I'm from Massachusetts.
Oh, my
and
God, yeah,
that was
right
a big
there.
thing. My brother-in-law's into all that
Oh,
stuff.
geez, camping. 6 of us in one tent. I could have cared.
Did
Well,
you ever reenact?
My parents are reenactors.
Oh no! Really?
They totally were.
Okay, now wait.
That's the right question.
Billy Hipkins' parents are reenactors.
They were,
I don't know
were.
anybody's
They
parents who are reenactors.
Totally were.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I know people's parents who are dramatic,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
but reenactors.
Reenactors.
My brother-in-law's into
That's
all
like a
that stuff.
PBS thing,
No,
right?
at one point, one summer, the summer of 1976,
Oh,
the big
yeah.
bicentennial,
Us too.
we as a family, stop it.
Stop it, Gabby.
we as a family all had outfits, and we were like part of like these other couple families that we were all forced to be like reenacting together. I was not happy about any of this.
And who did you reenact,
Yeah.
Bill?
we were just like colonial children.
Colonial children.
The son,
That would
son
never
of the guy
happen
with
to
the
an
gun.
Italian.
Do you have pictures?
No.
There is a picture, not with me, but there is.
You have to bring that
There's
next time.
photographic.
to
There is
show it.
photographic evidence. Yeah.
Okay,
So-
yeah, I love this thing that you did. You had on Facebook where you were in the forest with your parents recently.
Oh yeah.
And your
yeah.
sister?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was
Clearing a
my
path in the
favorite.
woods.
Clearing
Yeah.
the path in the woods.
My folks now
With
they
his
moved.
parents.
They left Jersey and retired to Walton's Mountain, Virginia. I call it
See?
Walton's Mountain. That's not where it is.
I'm telling you.
And they have woods. So we were helping. They're all there because we're helping them clear a path.
They look
in their
great.
woods. They're doing great. My folks are doing great.
Well, listen, you know what keeps you young?
Kenny and Ellen
Reenacting.
are doing great. Reenacting, yeah. But anyway, the show, it's like there's a lot of comedy because I also talk about like my first stage experience was in the second grade in a production of Peter Rabbit where I was passed over for the titular rabbit and I was
What
playing
is a titular
the
rabbit? I don't know that
title,
word.
The title.
Oh!
The titular rabbit.
The titular.
I was passed
See, when I
over-
hear I don't think of
Titular.
the
That's
title. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that.
no, the title character passed me by. I was
Okay.
a radish.
I like
And not even-
radishes
okay.
though,
And
because radishes have a bite to them.
But
Bill,
here's the thing. No,
They're
I
really
wasn't
good.
even the radish. I was one of 3 radishes in Peter Rabbit. And as I'm saying in the show, though, like when this happened, though, here we go. I am speechless.
one of 3 red. That sucks.
I am
Sorry.
speechless.
Yes.
Literally, I have no lines. I was outraged in the second grade at this egregious error. So anyway, that's in the show too.
Wow.
So there's a lot of like, how did I get here? And all these parallels between her acting career and my
I
acting
feel
career.
privileged
and
that you
her
let
life
me
and
into that
my
world.
life
And the radish.
and this feeling of like I need to tell you who she was and who we were, and we are both also Reds. We neither of us made it to the top of the pyramid, and I wanted stardom, and I wanted it for her, and that's just what that show became. It's a 70-minute show, and I always say like you'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll kiss 70 minutes goodbye.
Oh,
at the
no,
Also
it's
Red,
wonderful.
for the benefit of
Billy,
Jenny
where
Black.
is this show going to be? Please,
Oh,
I
this
would love
one,
Is it
I-
going
I-
to Boston anytime soon?
This show I've had to put on the shelf.
Oh,
I
okay.
did as much with this one as I could, which means it all comes down to, and you all know this creatively, time, energy, money.
And money, yeah.
I put in as much time, energy, and money as I could. I
Well,
was hoping it would go further. It won a couple of awards. At
I
some
know
small
it did.
festivals in town and stuff. But I wanted a commercial run for it, and that didn't happen. Hasn't happened. So for now, I've put it aside.
Okay,
And
all right,
there's,
for
there's,
now.
there's
but
a new show. I'll tell you
I
about
have a
that later.
feeling. Yeah, we may. I mean, maybe we can get this thing in Boston. My family's out there, and they would go
Ah.
crazy for it. Okay, so let's. We're going to switch over to Gab for a minute,
Give me
and
a
then
sec.
we're going
Yeah.
to talk about your
Yeah,
new
the
show.
other baby, yeah.
Okay, so
Cool.
I will never. I will always love you for telling me about the radish that you
Oh.
were
And
one of 3 radishes.
radishes.
Okay,
And
so
turtles.
the turtles.
Dude,
Billy, you're so
Donatello,
multifaceted. Radishes, turtles.
I can play
You
everything.
actually
Everything.
brought me back to the
Play it.
second grade.
Oh,
You
Here we
keep
go.
saying this.
No, because you said you're the radish, and
Yeah.
I was actually the bluebird in Rumpelstiltskin.
What?
in
Yeah, but the
second grade.
bluebird is so pretty. That's
Wait,
really that's not
the
a radish.
I was the bluebird.
Wow. See, you
Wow,
got a
that's
slow
beautiful.
spot.
I know.
Yeah, I was not a bluebird or a radish. I was an angel in our Catholic school. I was
Because
one of the
you are an
angels.
angel.
Yeah.
Well, I
Acting.
don't know about that. I was actually like a
Acting.
troubled child, but an angel, yeah, and a radish. Wow.
Radish.
All right, so
Bluebird angel.
Gabrielle, you are originally from Texas, right?
Yes.
Okay, so shout out to Texas, and we
Shout out,
Yes.
Brooklyn.
when I booked Gabby for the show, it was about a month ago. First Billy, and then I was like, oh, Billy and Gabby know each other. This will be great.
Perfect.
And the whole Texas thing had not happened yet, so we want to send our a huge shout out to Texas.
Mhm.
We love you, and we're pulling for you. And I've seen some beautiful footage of people helping each other.
Definitely.
It's mind blowing.
Yeah.
And tonight's food, which we'll go back to later, was inspired by Texas. So I made some barbecue stuff.
Yeah.
So Gabby, you came to the city, you went to NYU, and then tell us a little bit about your story and your creative process.
So, dance is it's tricky. But I try to get myself into many things that I could. And I also, when I started teaching like Pilates, and I started doing different.
Did you meet other
modalities.
dancers, and that's how you get into different things?
Yeah, I mean, I did do some auditions, but they were just.
It's a tough town to be a dancer.
It's hard, and
Right?
I'm like very sensitive,
Mm.
and so I think that like I used to tell my students that you have to like just not think about anybody else but you, and I try to like learn from those experiences, and then after a while, like the dream kind of changed. That's when I went back to school to be a dance educator, and I really love teaching.
Yeah,
You know, I
teaching's
mean, I
great.
love the art, and I love, you know, what I try to find in teaching is you may have a student that's a dancer, but they may really thrive in like theater.
Right,
So it's
right.
about really helping, you know, someone find their voice.
Yeah, I agree
And,
wholeheartedly. And as a teacher, teaching actually taught me so many things about myself.
Right.
Do you find that as well?
Yeah. And it made me a better mover too.
Mhm.
You know, I just because in order to teach, you really have to know it.
Right.
You know?
Sure.
But what you
Sure.
talked about, seeing different things in kids,
Yeah.
like for instance, I was teaching in Sunset Park, Brooklyn in the 90s, and it was a kind of I mean, the neighborhood was not what it is now. So it was, it was gang infested, and these kids they had so many challenges. And so some of the kids that I had in class, it would take like, out of the 40-minute class, it would take 20 minutes to get them to sit down. But what I learned to do, because I had to create these shows I worked with a dance specialist. So as a theater specialist, and we would create these shows, that what I learned to do was take what a kid already had.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they had like crazy energy.
Right.
So rather than tell them, sit down, sit down, sit down, I thought, this kid keeps running around, so I'm going to make him the runner in this show.
Right.
So we would do like mythology, and I would make him like the one that had wings on his feet. I think it's Mercury.
Yeah,
Is it
yeah,
Mercury?
you're right, it is Mercury,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I gave him the role of Mercury, and I told him to just keep flying, because that was his thing. He just could not stay still.
Right.
So I learned that, like you learn that by teaching, and then you come home and think, you know what? I accepted that in him, and he was actually really great at it, and it worked in the context of the show. I'm going to start cutting myself some slack for my idiosyncrasies. You know, did you ever find that as performers, that as you go in the city, that you start to kind of like accept your own stuff a little bit more?
Well, that's why I think I ended up writing my own stuff, and now I have 2 solo shows, is I ended up in an audition category with management and stuff. Basically, it came down to all the casting people love you and all that. They just know what to do with you.
Right, right.
So, well, when you're stuck with that for a while, I went through a feeling as well, I'll show them. And it was like, well, that's not getting me work.
And it
So
might not,
make
you
your
may not be
own.
right
Make
for that
your own.
particular show at that particular
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
but that doesn't mean that you're not talented.
Right.
I also did casting for a show once, and had the privilege of sitting with casting directors for some commercials. And boy, did I learn a lot. First of all, sometimes we had cast the women, and then these amazing guys would come in, but they weren't physically right for the women we had cast.
Sure.
Right.
So you think, oh God, I wish we cast the men first. You know, but I also learned something. When you are a good person and you have good energy and you go in there, they may not use you for that show, but they'll remember you.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember
that's a
thinking,
big part of it,
somehow we have to use this guy because he's
Sure.
really great. We also, in one of the shows that I did, we created a role for a guy because he was so easy to work with and so lovable and funny that we're like, you know what? When we took a break, we got to find something for this guy. So, you know, don't always think because you don't get something that you're not great at what you do. Sometimes goes down to, even Rose Keogh, our mutual friend, said, sometimes it's who's going to fit into the dress.
Absolutely
Right.
true. We had that at Tony and Tina's wedding. We would have people saying, we love her to be the replacement. What do you got? They would go to Rose and I. Do we have something to put her in?
Right.
Because we don't have the budget to get new clothes for her.
Can
So it
you
might come
imagine?
down
These
to-
are true stories. These
Yeah.
really happen in
It's gotta
dress.
come down
Rose
to-
Keogh told me that.
Sure. It might come down. And even on Broadway, that can be the case. Not as often. What happens on Broadway more often, because I've seen it, is they will cast somebody and then go to wardrobe and say, you got 2 weeks to put them on stage. And we're like, we don't have anything that fits them.
Wow.
Really? And we've got to figure it out.
Yeah.
And that happens.
And that's
what
where the
happens.
magic also
Oof.
happens too. You know, it's
Yeah.
like figuring it out. It's sometimes you're at the 11th hour and
Yeah.
what do we do?
Well, the show never stopped because wardrobe failed.
Right.
Right.
We make it happen.
Oh, you guys are really.
We make it
I mean,
happen.
What's your birthday, by the way?
May 18th.
So you're a Taurus.
I'm a Taurus.
Wow.
Follow the sound of my voice. I'll get us out of here alive. I put it there for a reason.
Yes.
I'll move it. I'll know if
Tauruses
you
are
moved
real. Darius Frowner, my friend, and
Darius,
you know
Frowner. I do
Darius.
know lovely Darius.
And Coach
yes.
G also, he and I teach together.
Mm.
And we've done a couple of workshops in the city, and we work together 2 nights a week. So Darius is a Taurus. And Jerry Diefenbach, also another piano player that I work with, a Taurus. Tauruses do not mess around.
Yeah.
And I know where I put it. No, they used to mess with me. Do you remember this? They used to mess with me in the dressing room at
Yeah,
Tony
well,
and
those
Tina's
guys,
wedding.
yeah.
because I have this weird ability to look up from any place. If someone says I can't find my bow tie, I will literally look up in a room of 30 actors and a huge room full of mess and go, it's right there. I mean, I can just. So they would literally like hide, like put it, and then everybody would get quiet. Billy, I can't find my cufflinks. And then I'd turn around, I'd see the whole room kind of doing this, like looking.
They were afraid of you.
First of all, it's right there, and second of all, put your clothes on.
Right. You remember that dressing room? 30 actors, one dressing room. Men and women.
It was
all
a kitchen.
ages.
It had been the kitchen of the restaurant, and we had turned it into a dressing room.
Unbelievable.
It was an amazing.
Well, we had so much fun.
Loved it in there.
I know.
If I could go back, I would go back.
So, I know. So, Gabby, I want to get back to this because when I first met you, you told me that you also played violin, and I didn't know that about you at all.
Ooh.
I did. That was like my first love of the arts.
Tell me about that.
I was 9, and they had I think they had like it was music class, so you got to choose what instrument you wanted. So my parents would always play like all different kinds of music. So my mother was really into classical and jazz, or both my parents were actually. So I grew up around in a house that.
Now, your parents are from Mexico?
Yeah, they're from Mexico.
Okay.
And my dad actually, his whole, like...
Were they musicians?
2 of my uncles, yeah. They all play guitar.
Wonderful.
My dad, I think he likes to sing. Like, he won't really admit, but he's, but so one of my uncles had a band. And so there's always been, like, a creative part.
Were you encouraged to create?
I think my mom used to draw, and so I have a sister who's a visual artist, and so I started taking Suzuki, and so
Well, tell people what that is and spell it, because this is really important. It's a method of learning music, right? So,
it's actually a method of learning, and it's SUZUKI. Yeah.
Okay.
So
it's a method of learning.
Right. And
this was introduced in
Japan.
Right. Japanese are so smart. We love you, Japanese.
So we
friends.
Started.
So smart.
Yeah. So we really started. Twinkle Twinkle. And so we started with the holding the violin.
Yeah.
And then you start the bow. So by the time you're ready to play, you're already there.
Right.
Wow,
you have everything.
Yeah.
And
it is feeling everything in your body, right?
Yeah, and so it
makes sense instinctually.
It's really a recipe for setting you up to just be prepared.
Wow.
And the structure that if you look at the books, I mean there's 1 through maybe 10, maybe more. I'm not sure.
Is it just for kids or adults as well?
Adults.
If I decided that I wanted to play the violin and I went to the Suzuki method.
So if you do the Suzuki method, it's ear training.
Oh, that's even better. That's what
it is.
I love.
I had trouble, though, when I did orchestra in high school because I didn't really know how to read notes. I mean, you should learn how to read notes at some point, but the listening, I could listen to something and play it.
Oh,
really?
That's amazing.
I just loved doing that, like improvising, and that was easier in improvisation.
Do you know that some great, amazing musicians are like that? Believe it or not, Keith Richards, because I listened to his audiobook. I couldn't read it. It was like this giant. But he was one of those kids that literally taught himself to play the guitar. Prince, who's a genius. Genius. Played so many instruments.
Yeah.
And also Paul McCartney, who's one of my favorites. He's a Gemini. I'm a Gemini. So when's your birthday?
July 29th.
So you're a Cancer or a Leo?
Oh, you're the Leo.
Leo.
Sure.
I like the meow though. You didn't go
yeah, right.
The meow, and you do love the felines.
Yeah, and I'm a
my
baby
mom was a Leo,
so I'm a little bit on the Cancer cusp.
Okay, yeah.
So the water, and I have a lot of water in my sign, like a lot of Scorpio.
Yeah.
All
right, so because I love signs, and our friend
too.
Lynn Portis, who's my musical director, she's really into signs. We should just have her come on and do a signs show.
Yeah, why not?
Awesome.
But okay, so you played the violin, and what did you ever consider going into that field, or you just loved it? It was your first love, you said.
You know what? As we're talking, I realized that it was teachers, the inspiration. So what happened was I had a teacher, and she moved away.
Oh.
And I was in the 8th grade, and I was devastated.
Sure.
So I went, I went into orchestra, and that teacher was amazing too, Mr. Parsons. He actually just passed away.
See, we always remember our great teachers.
Yeah, he was awesome, and he really was very passionate. He also taught Latin. but I wasn't an orchestra person.
Right.
You know what I mean? We
Mhm.
learned amazing stuff, but I'm really like I just have to, I'm super classical. Like I love
Right.
Vivaldi and like the,
Oh,
you know,
beautiful.
just the Paganini, and that was, you know, just those were really, they just fed me, you know.
Okay,
I
so
just
what-
loved it.
Oh, it's beautiful stuff. And when you were talking about like that music and the violin, and I know you're a dancer, I kept thinking about Fiddler on the Roof. Do you remember the
Right.
fiddler?
I did. I played that role twice.
Did you?
I was the fiddler twice.
You-
And I'm left-handed, so I was playing backwards the whole time. I
No.
was sawing away backwards.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's so
Oh,
cool.
yeah. I
Is
did.
it because that's what came to me? I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what? That like I see like that Fiddler on the Roof.
Mhm.
So beautiful, that silhouette, right? So
Yeah.
what made you start dancing?
So I actually would take I was taking dance at this studio. It was like more recital, like we did like the tap, jazz, and ballet, but I don't know what it was. I don't know if I saw performance, but I told my mom, I said, I want to try. And there was this woman who had this.
And what did your mom
studio.
say?
She's
Yes?
like, okay.
Okay, yeah,
So,
that's it.
you know, I was 12, so it was already too,
Oh, okay.
I was too,
Too old for ballet.
Too
Right.
but I
So
went
you
to
know
her.
all this stuff. I don't
Yeah.
know this
Sure.
stuff.
So I
I'm not a
went to
dancer.
her. Her name's Miss Mitchell. Miss Mitchell, if you're watching, I love you. And she's still super amazing. So I went to her, and she was like, you know, it's going to be a lot of work. Because
Really?
I was just I was chubby and
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I was
really?
just like a little butterball.
Oh, okay.
See, I was skinny as a kid. As an adult, I got chubby.
Yeah, I just have always
So ran
been the
around.
yo-yo. But,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I went to her, and I was in the 8th grade, and we just started like twice a week, and then I would take like this, she had a stretch class, but it had like a lot of Pilates moves, and I think that, you know,
Oh.
Yeah.
I
that's-
really think that we're, the things that we do in our life, we're already attracted to them.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know, and so that like
Uh-huh.
scientific part, I really love.
Absolutely.
Sure.
But she was like a mother. Like she was so giving of her time. And then I got into a company. You know, I did point with her.
Well, you might have.
Wow.
You must have been doing great work because you
I
don't
mean,
just go from being a chubby kid at 12 that's never taken dance to doing all
Well, I
that.
To
started
point,
going.
yeah,
I started
right?
going
A lot.
every day. I started
Wow.
going every day, and so you know, and I was a kind of like a difficult kid inside, but that being in dance class
Helps you
just
focus.
helped me. Like
Wow.
it was hard for me to get there. You know, like the
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
there,
Right.
but just because of my head. But once I was there. Like I
right.
just felt like a complete release.
Well, you know what?
And so that's what really, I think that's what the violin did for me. I think that's what dance. So
Uh-huh.
I was told right away, it's like and when I was dancing, it's like you had to be like a ballerina, like at
Right.
18.
Mhm.
So I didn't know about colleges. I mean, she was the one who said,
Your teacher.
you can go to get an undergrad. You can go to, and there's so many amazing, but I was so naive.
Mm.
And she introduced me to, because she would, even though it was ballet, she talked about like modern, like I learned about Martha Graham through
Oh,
her.
yeah.
I learned about
Mhm.
Alvin Ailey through
Mhm.
her.
Right.
And
What a great teacher.
yeah,
Wow.
she just
Such a
really,
big
I mean,
deal,
she's
right?
still is doing amazing work, and she's had
Yeah.
kids go to like SAB and like all these
Teachers are so
companies.
underrated.
Totally.
And underpaid, too. That's
Well,
Totally,
that we.
totally.
My
Well,
sister is an
although I gotta
educator
say,
in
where I
Jersey.
work, they're
Hi,
really
T.
great.
My sister, Therese.
Yeah, let's shout. Okay, so shout out
Yeah.
to our teachers, Renee,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
friend Renee Lordy. Always,
yeah.
she usually listens. I think they started today. So let's. Jason Peck joined. Our friend Jason Peck. John Fitzgerald has joined us. Carla Ercole, and she joined us. All right, so I'm learning so much about you guys. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
Want to know what else? I took violin as a kid, too. It
You
didn't
did?
It didn't end the same way, though.
oh,
Well,
you know
it's like
it's-
that when you're in school, you have to take an instrument, and
You
I
have
also
to take
chose
an
violin.
instrument.
So you have to, because both modalities were like so intense. And so when you had asked me the question about like, why did I continue with the violin or this, I almost felt like it just kind of chose, me. And I
Sure,
didn't want to let go of the
sure.
violin, but it's
yeah.
like,
Sometimes you have to focus.
they're
They tell you to
both
focus.
so, yeah. So,
Oh, and dances, and if you're going to do it, it's
Well, you're
intense.
a dancer as well, right?
I
Come on, Billy.
I danced in a lot of shows. I frustrated a lot of choreographers. I was never a natural dancer.
You still take dance class, though.
Oh, God.
No?
You should.
No, God, no.
BBC's down the,
Oh,
the
no,
street.
God, no.
All right, no dancing.
Well, here's the
How
other
about reenacting?
I'll reenact. No, I also had a full knee replacement almost
you?
a year ago. Yeah,
I
I'm
didn't know
bionic.
that.
My right knee is bionic. So
That's
me and
sexy.
dancing, I mean, I'm doing great. It went well and all that, but oh no, I'm not dancing. No.
Wow, all right.
I
Well, I'm not
finally realized,
dancing,
like,
so
I
don't panic,
do
anybody.
this well, and I don't.
I
Really
shan't be
enjoy
dancing
it.
anytime soon.
Don't ask me. I mean, I could perform in musicals. I'll sell that number, and
Oh,
I've
I
had a lot of
believe it.
choreographers that by opening night had to say, "I got to give it to you.
You sold it.
You sold it."
Awesome.
But natural danceability, not really.
Doesn't come, yeah.
Not really.
But I think it's also like even the naturals, and I'm sure this is also in any art. It's like when it streamlines the talent and the drive and the love. I think that like Misty Copeland is a full. She
Misty
is a
Copeland.
picture
Oh
of that.
my God.
The
Sure.
drive,
Yes.
Absolutely.
the work,
Yes.
and
Yep.
the passion, and it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's like a trifecta that happens, and I just
astounding.
feel like
Yeah, it's
that
beautiful.
is really
Absolutely.
unbelievable, So
Yeah. Did you do gymnastics as well? I don't know
no,
why.
I wish I would have. You're thinking of Danelle.
No, I know that because Danelle also loves Misty Copeland, so that's what
really?
made me think of it. Okay, let's take a second. I know we already did our commercials. Jimmy, thank you so much. Did our commercials at the top of the hour. So I always like to give my cousin Joyce a shout out. She's one of our sponsors, and she has a salon, 132 Ferry Street in Everett, Mass. So shout out to Joyce. I love Joyce and Gina, my cousins. A lot of my cousins are hairdressers.
Nice.
All right, so it's 9:43, which means we have about 15 minutes left. So I do want to I want to take a moment to talk about our food right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So because
Yes.
let's segue into the food, and then we're going to go and talk about your
the
new show.
baby.
Okay, so Gabby being from Texas, and Texas being in our thoughts and prayers this
I
week.
didn't make it. This is
So
all-
I thought that I am going to. Oh, thank you for that's very
Well,
nice
present
display.
too, just
This is
present.
I made a chicken barbecue chicken sandwich, and these are homemade pickles I made. And a shout out to
Crazy.
Bill Benke, who is Penny James's boyfriend and my friend as well. Penny James was on our show last week, and Bill sent me sage and mint last week from his garden and
Crazy.
cucumbers. And your cucumber, I turned it into a pickle. And we all know once a pickle,
Delicious.
never a cucumber.
Never cucumber again.
Right,
That's
but
it.
I put honey ginger
Really good.
vinegar, some dill, some fennel seed, and it is so good. You're going to love it. So we got a bunch of pickles for after the show. And also because Gabby is Mexican, a delicious tomato and avocado to complement Gabby and our
Hopefully they brought
Tex-Mex.
their best.
Oh, yeah, I hope so. I hope so.
Wow.
So with some lime in there and cilantro.
And if
So
it was
that's our
for
food
me,
for
It
tonight.
will be pure ham.
And
Anyway.
I love it. Now you said something when you walked into the kitchen. You said, "I am not a cook."
I am not. The kitchen is for a coffee maker and a hot glue gun, and the kitchen cabinets are where you
Hot
store.
glue gun.
Now, okay,
For the sequence,
for the sequence. Well, I've done a lot of work with Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS.
Wonderful.
One of the annual
Wonderful
events
chat.
that I'm very much a part of is the annual Easter bonnet competition.
Unbelievable.
which you've been part of.
I was part of that.
You've been
Yes.
part of that.
I
Yes.
wrote a lot of those
It's
skits.
Yes, yeah, we did a lot
Yeah.
with Tony and Tina and stuff.
Yeah.
I have a very indelible moment of a microphone getting knocked over and you just going, no big deal, no big deal.
I picked up that
Never
broken
forget
microphone. Yes, I remember that.
And-
Me and Chuck Santoro and Liz
Yeah.
Zazzy would write those skits.
God, we had
Yes.
fun. But
did.
I've written and staged a lot of them, and I've built 15 Easter bonnets for them.
You
So-
built the Easter bonnet that
Oh,
won
yeah.
us. I think
Oh,
did
yeah,
we win
yeah.
second place? or-
They made a special fourth place for us.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, they never
It
done
was
that
a
for us.
giant. The Easter bonnet every year is all the Broadway shows get together and raise money for Broadway Cares. And what they do is, just like the Easter bonnet, you wear that for the Easter parade. The shows would create these gigantic bonnets, right? And usually it was the wardrobe people and the behind the scenes people that would create these bonnets. And Billy created. It was like a giant
was a wedding
engagement. Was it an
Yeah, but
engagement ring?
That was one year, but we did the wedding cake was the one that we won
Oh
with.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a big
Wow.
wedding cake. Yeah.
But that engagement ring
Yeah,
was
yeah.
pretty cool too.
We've had some good ones.
And Justine was listening to us. I think she
Yes,
still is. She
she
wore
wore
that.
that
She
thing,
got
I'll
to
never forget.
don that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
winning
Oh, yeah.
crown.
So that's what my
So
kitchen's
cool.
for, is for building stuff.
Barbara
I mean,
Cavallo
I
has
just-
joined us. She's my therapist. Well, she was my
Okay.
therapist. Now she's a great friend. But I might have to come back,
Is that
Barbara.
Michael
I'm thinking
Carcani?
I need it. Michael Gargani, yes.
And Michael Leon Woolley.
Michael Leon Woolley. He's going to be on our show. in
Michael.
October. Can't wait.
Hi, Michael. Hi,
Hi,
Michael and
Michael.
Michael.
Fan.
Yeah, Billy is really.
Well, I'm hoping they're going to come.
He gets around.
Can I
All right,
talk
so
about-
let's
I'm hoping they're
segue
going to come
into
see my new show. Let me do this.
Yes,
Prince Charming, You're Late.
Prince Charming. You're late.
Again, this is something I've wrote and it will be performing, also directed by Perry Delaquila. We're going to be doing this, Prince Charming, You're Late, at Emerging Artists Theater. You can go to emergingartiststheater.org. We're going to be doing this for one night only, Sunday, October 15th at 7 p.m. This is my second solo show. It is also 70 minutes.
How come one night only? Just there?
They do a Newark series.
Oh, okay,
They're
okay.
so wonderful. Emerging Artists Theater, I can't thank you enough for supporting my work and the work of so many people. They'll give you one night to bring your thing.
Okay.
And their whole deal is, when it's a new thing, at $10 a head, bring one audience member per minute of stage time you're using. So there's really no pressure.
Oh, wow.
All right? And then they'll curate a Q&A for you afterwards. You write down the questions. What do you want to know from your audience? And they will sit with you and ask your audience, what did you hear, what's working, what's not, and help you
And
develop.
how do we get tickets to that, Billy?
It's going to be a brownpapertickets.com event. I do not have my specific page yet, but emergingartiststheater.org will have links to the tickets, or brown paper tickets.
And when you do get that link, would you mind posting it on my page so that I can
will.
forward
Absolutely.
it and repost it?
Within another week,
Because
I should have.
cannot say enough about Billy's
Prince
first
Charming,
show.
You're Late.
Prince Charming, You're Late.
This-
How would you say that in Spanish, Gabby?
Well, Prince is
It's like Ray? Or
Rey. Well, Rey is the king.
King, right.
King, right.
And Charming, oh my goodness. That's like
Encantanto or something like
well,
that?
Encantada means like, or Encantada means
Enchanted,
like, it's,
right?
Yeah, it's like
Enchanted.
it's like lovely, you know.
Right. Well, how do you say you're late? Temprano?
Tarde.
Tarde.
Temprano
is early.
Early, yeah.
Okay, so tarde. So
Oh
Prince
my
Charming, esta tarde.
Esta tarde.
right.
When I translate it, I'm coming to you.
She is. Yes.
Because, well, this is the first time I did a reading of it last year, The Emerging Artists, and it went really well.
It's
This is
just
okay.
you, though, right?
It's
It's
just,
one-man
again,
show?
it's just
I
me.
love it.
This is a story about my fixation from forever with Prince Charming coming in and saving me from my life, and how, as I grew into adulthood, I kind of, all these real life boys in my life, I kind of gave princely qualities to, even though I know that was not real.
I can't
And
wait.
I kind of kept this Prince Charming fixation going, and then one day, once upon a time, I met my actual Prince Charming and fell madly in love with this guy who was literally half my age and straight. And I developed a killer crush on this guy,
Wow.
which kind of became obsessive, and I was in love with this guy, and it really almost devoured my life until somebody stepped in and was like, this doesn't sound okay, and I had to dismantle what became a crush. And I knew I had to write it down. I didn't know if I would ever tell it to anybody, but I shared it with my director, and we decided, I made the decision a year ago, I will tell this to one audience.
Right.
And because I don't know if it's going to come across as like, you're a creepy stalker.
Right.
What happened was the Q&A led to gay, straight, men, women, everyone kind of
Listen,
going,
stalkers sell tickets. That's all I'm going to
that's
say.
true. But
No.
people were like, I've done that. I've been there. I've had a crush like that.
Oh,
I understand.
yeah.
And that has led me to say, all right, well, let's take it off the page, put it on its feet.
Right.
And now I got to learn 70 minutes of my own writing. Oh, God, I got to learn the script.
I know, that's the thing. That's my hardest thing.
Hey,
Memorizing
the
is my
memorizing.
biggest challenge, whether it's the lyrics, even my own songs, because I'm a songwriter.
Exactly.
And I have to, like, if I do a show of my own stuff, I have to go over the lyrics again and rememorize them. Isn't that ridiculous?
I can't imagine.
So I'm in that.
I cannot
And
imagine.
while I'm learning the script, I'm also making something about me in my shows. I always end up wearing a dress at some point.
Well, listen, you can rock a dress, so I cannot.
I'm making
although
a
I did-
princess
I
dress
think
for this
you
show.
could.
I gotta wear a princess dress.
You're going to wear the
At one point, because we do a lot of asides in the story
Yeah.
from the Big Book of Princely Attributes, telling you about the attributes of Prince Charming. Example, the show starts with the lines, Prince Charming has no genitals. That's part of what makes him charming. And it goes on.
Is that
And there's a
true?
whole section, that's in my version it is.
I love it.
One of the old sections is called On Being a Princess, and is all about the actual, this is what it's like to be a princess, and being dressed as a princess. So I'm making like an adult-sized little girl play dress, princess dress for myself to put on at some point.
And you're going to make that yourself?
I'm
You know how to
making
do that?
I'm in the process of doing it right
That's
now.
what the glue gun is for.
That's
And-
what the glue
Oh,
gun is,
okay. That's
Because
how
if
we
the
got
sewing
back.
machine craps out, we're going
Yes.
right back to the glue gun.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
All right,
I'm
so
working on
I'm
stitching
looking forward to that. You got to tell us about that so I can put that on.
Absolutely.
And if you do The Also Ran Again, please,
I'm
please
hoping
tell
that
me.
comes around again. But for the moment, we're
It's
gonna
okay.
work
Sometimes
we're
you have
gonna
to
work on
put
the new
things
baby.
aside for a
Yeah,
minute
you gotta
and do
put it
new
down.
stuff. Like,
Yeah,
I
working on the
remember
new baby.
David Bowie, I'm telling you, like 20 years ago, they interviewed him and they said, what's your favorite song? Or what's your favorite album that you've ever done? He said, the one I'm working on now.
Wow.
And he said, I always am on to the next. And he had just signed a 5-album deal. And I remember thinking, oh my God, that pressure.
Wow.
How is he going to be able to do that? But he did, because the next thing was his favorite. It doesn't mean that you throw away your babies that you've worked on. It means that you something that you're proud of and you put aside, and then you work on new stuff. And it's true. Like, I find the same thing with my songwriting, that it's always my favorite one is the one I'm working on, or the show that I'm working on, or whatever.
Sure.
So, anyway, let me see. We have about 8 minutes left. So let's, Gab, what are you doing right now that you want to tell us about? What's your love right now? You said your passion is Pilates is your passion, right?
Well, I'm really into it right now. I am actually also teaching at a school, and I try to like teach Pilates to the kids. I work with kids that have learning disabilities.
Wonderful.
And I love them.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
And they're really, it's one of those things where sometimes when you're working with teenagers, like they know I'm a dancer, or they know that I've taught dance. Like, I'm not doing that. So I find that the Pilates is a way for them to move, and it's not competitive, for me.
Right,
And
right.
so like,
personal best.
Yeah, and that competition thing has always been kind of like hard for me, because I'm always like, oh, you want to go to the front? Like, just go to the front. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's helped me so much. So I'm doing that. I also teach Spanish.
Wow.
I know, co-teach. So,
I didn't know that, but I always ask you. You're almost my go-to. Well, Judy Mesa,
Judy,
of course. Poor Judy is driving back. She was in Miami and got stuck there because of the storm.
Oh, wow.
They're not letting planes out. I was there with her, and then I came back yesterday because I had to work, and I didn't want to miss the show because she was coming back tonight. I would have missed the show. So I got an earlier ticket, and then she got stuck there. They're not letting planes out. So she is in a car right now.
Too, because it's
hold on, Florida. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, down there. My friend Scott Ryan, he's in Tampa, I think. Scotty, or he's in Fort Lauderdale, I think.
Wow.
Right, so all our Florida friends were thinking about you. Judy is driving up right now. She rented an SUV and she's driving home.
Michael Woolley, Billy, please share how you were almost a father. What? No,
Michael, you know what? But you see how he is. We don't want to know about all that. Michael, that's really because he loves Maury Povich. That's his favorite.
Story.
He's always You see, you're making Billy blush. Stop it.
Oh, I know about
My cousin Cora has joined. Cora, where have you been the last few weeks? We missed you so much. My cousin Cora is the best, funniest person you could imagine. She's Nicole's mom, so who the hairdresser we shouted out in the beginning. Okay. Nicole's hair salon and day spa in Stoneham, Massachusetts. Go and see her. My sister is in West Concord. She has European Flair. Is her hair salon in West Concord, Massachusetts.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, my family. Wow. I mean, hairdressers. And okay, so Gabby, so you're working on that. You're doing that, and that's wonderful. And
awesome.
So school starts tomorrow. Yeah, you do teach a lot, right?
Well, I mean, I teach full time, and it's great. And then with Pilates, I'm doing like a continuing ed down at Real Pilates in Tribeca.
Oh,
and it's awesome. I mean, I used to work with Alicia Anguro, who's the owner, and 100 years ago. But she's amazing, and she just has a lot of knowledge.
So if somebody wants to take a Pilates class from you, what do they do? Do you have
they could contact me.
Okay. Do you have like a website or an email or something?
Email is dancewithgab@gmail.
Dancewithgab. G-A-B.
So right now I'm just like
at Gmail.
At Gmail.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm at the studio. Like I'll be there tomorrow, Thursdays, and like on the weekends.
Okay, great.
And stuff like that. And then I also work at a Pilates studio on the Upper West Side.
All right. So if you are in Manhattan and you want to take a Pilates class, you want to email dancewithgab, G-A-B, and just contact her and she'll tell you her classes and where you can find her. Do you do private instruction?
Private classes.
Great.
And I have clients in their homes.
Now I know you went to Spain as well. there was a point where you went to Spain and taught as well?
Yeah, that was
Couple
100
years
years
ago.
ago too.
But
It was,
that stayed in my mind.
Yeah, so I went for a summer. I was I had gone with an organization or like a studio, a business, Power Pilates. So I was kind of like a liaison between one of the teachers, the studios in Madrid,
Okay,
and they also
great.
had a studio in Spain. And I'm sorry,
It doesn't matter.
Marbella,
Oh, okay.
on the beach. It's beautiful.
Oh, wow.
So I went for a summer, and it was a wonderful experience. I
Yeah,
think
traveling is
Spain,
great. I don't do too much of it, but I have to
teaching
do
and
more.
traveling
Yeah.
is like my.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I
Yeah.
love doing that.
Wow.
So I feel like dance has taken me to.
To
It took
places.
me to Russia.
Wow,
to be
really?
here,
I don't
when
want to
was
go
in-
there. I have no desire.
Yeah, but this was in '91.
Yeah, so it was different.
So
it was a different time.
Yeah.
And Billy, as far as traveling, your show has traveled. Tell me some of the cities that the show's been in.
Oh, not really a lot. I mean,
No?
no. Also, ran didn't go.
Did you do it in
as
Philly?
such as- No.
I don't know why I thought that.
Well, I was just dressing the national tour of Hedwig and the Angry Inch. I
Oh,
was,
okay. So you've
I was all over
you've
America.
traveled.
Just
Yeah.
earlier this year, I was in a lot of cities, like 21 cities or something.
Okay, so
But
yeah, I
that
know we
was-
talked
that was-
about that.
But not my baby. My show went to Milford, Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
Teeny
okay.
place, which is actually where Jenny Gourlay ended up ending her life, and there's a small historical society that has some of her actual costumes that I got to go see, and I actually helped do performances to start raising funds to have those restored. The
Wow.
Collins Museum
That's
in
incredible.
Milford, Pennsylvania. Check them out, help them, support them. They're a tiny organization with these amazing relics from 1870 that are rotting in an attic, and it just
Isn't that
it's a
crazy?
it's a
I know
heartbreaker
that
to
you.
me.
How many years ago was that, Billy? That
Well, it was
she,
150. Like I think this was 154 years this year since the Lincoln assassination. No, 153 years this year since the Lincoln assassination.
Okay, so the Lincoln assassination
April 14th.
happened in this Ford Theater,
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
Miss Jean
Miss Jenny Gourlay.
Jenny Gourlay was in the.
She
in the
was
wings.
Ford's Theater's leading lady.
Okay,
The way it worked then was you had an acting company at a theater.
all right.
She's the leading lady. They all have the roles that they play and the costumes they wear to play it. You own your costumes. I wear this when I play Lady Macbeth. I wear this when I play Juliet. Whatever. Stars would come through with their own shows, and you'd fill in the roles. I'll be playing this role
Okay.
when Laura Keene's traveling through, and they're doing American Cousin. So Jenny is in a supporting role that night, but she was in the wing when the gun went off.
Wow.
Wow.
All right, so we
Yeah.
just got Jimmy just let us know that we're wrapping up.
Yep.
Believe it or not, an hour has flown by.
My
I told these guys,
word.
it flies
Yeah.
by.
Wow.
So we are going to be eating our barbecue chicken sandwich
That's why I
with
came.
our pickles,
why I got
homemade pickles. Thank you, Bill Benke. And we thank you again. Okay, and that's our show. Come back and see us next week, 9 p.m.
Thanks
Tuesdays.
for listening.
Yay!
It's who I am.